Hello everyone, my name is Isabel. For those of you who do not know me, I introduced myself before when I did the first introduction. And today we are about to do our first webinar. Technically not a webinar because it wouldn't have any question session, but it's still educational in a hope to kind of let you know what's going on with Jiggy, who we are and what we're doing for people. A little background about myself. I am from West Africa, Mali. Came here 14 years ago, went to school, graduated with a finance degree, also had certification along the way. And now, after a few years, I'm working for a great financial institutions. And that's when I fell in love with helping our African community. Notice that we struggled a lot with a lot of product knowledge, and pretty much a lot of resources are needed in our demographic that we do not have access to, either by the lack of opportunity or maybe not having the proper guidance. And that's where we created Jiggy. Jiggy is pretty much hope, the hope for every African immigrant to achieve the right to know all the product that's out there, and being able to understand everything in the financial world, financial product, financial literacy, anything that can really help them achieve financial wellness and stability some days. And that's what we strive for. So today, what I like to talk about is credit. Credit, realistically, I would say is a lot more important than most people would think. If you ask me, I would tell you credit comes in second position after your last name, because anything you touch here, whether it's lending, whether it's mortgage, credit card, even your employments, some of them needs you to build a strong credit history, because it tells them about how credible you are, how disciplined you are, and how likely you are to be consistent with something. And in the financial world, that's really important as well. So a few things that I like to talk about that I think is really important would be establishing credit, what you need to know once that's established, what do you need to know if you struggle with credit, some of those information. So the number one thing that I like to mention to everybody is credit establishments. And I like to ask few questions along the way that I want everyone to answer for themselves, whether you're at home or just at work or anywhere you may be. How much did you know about credit when you first got your credit card? That's my first question. And secondly, how important was it to you to establish credit in a way that that it would be very beneficial to you in the future by understanding the benefits and also some pros and consequences of mismanaging the credit, because that's really important. For most people, they may not know that. I would tell you, when I first came from Mali, I had no idea what it meant to establish credit. I just heard a lot of my Asian friend at the time telling me they want credit card or they have credit card, but I had no idea what it was. So eventually I got my first credit card, but I messed it up. And I messed it up because I did not know what it is. I did not know how important it was. And to make matter worse, I used to tell myself, like many of my other friends back then, good credit, bad credit, it's okay. You still get approved anyhow. Not knowing how much that would have screwed things up for me. If I had only known how great credit would have been, I wouldn't have been in that shoes. So pretty much establishing credit is really important because you would need that. And in order for you to establish credit, you need to start somewhere. You need to make sure you have enough product knowledge. You need to know that you cannot use more than a certain percentage of the overall credit limit. You need to also understanding, besides the credit limit, your utilization ratio play a big deal. How much of that limit are you using? How much are you relying on that credit? Because you have to understand that the important thing is, besides having a credit card or maybe have some type of payment history that you're able to establish, lender need to know how well you can manage your debt that you may not even need. Because my recommendation to most people is to make sure that every time you purchase something, make sure you purchase something that you have the cash to buy, otherwise do not. Or you know that within 2 or 3 months you can generate enough money to pay off whatever amount you would take off that credit card. That would help you establish credit rather faster, because you want to make sure that everything you take or you spend on that card is either paid off or you have enough to make more than the minimum payments. But if you're going to use more than 30% of that credit limit, you're not only going to end up with a lower credit score, because your utilization ratio will be over 50%, which is bad, and you may also have to pay more than you think in interest. So if you have a limited income coming in and your expenses are pretty high and you don't have enough set aside, or you don't have a good goal to pay it off, then you can end up struggling and you might not be able to establish your credit as fast as you may think of. So credit establishment is really important. You have to make sure you have all the knowledge and the proper knowledge so you can move forward. And the second thing that I like to talk about is how many of you know that by having good credit doesn't necessarily mean you can get good loan or good interest rate? So here, good credit doesn't equal loans or lowest interest rate. A friend of mine said to me not too long ago that her credit score was rather high. She was above 740, and she had 3 credit cards at the time with average credit limit on each cards, and her payment history was on point, 100% payment history. Matter of fact, she did not even have a balance on her card, but she went ahead to a bank and asked for a loan, and they declined her. And the second time she tried, she was made a counter offer that was much lower than the amount she expected. Could she make the payments? Yes, she could, because she had a decent income coming in every month where she would not have struggled with payments. But she did not get the loan she applied for. And the reason being, the credit score may be high, 760 for instance, but if your credit limit across the board isn't as high, and your payment history hasn't been established for a long time, and your limit may not be the best that you would hope for, and you have no balance, creditors still want to make sure that if they give you a significant amount of money, they want to make sure you still pay you make your payment on time. And you still become risky, because you might have a good credit, but it doesn't necessarily mean if you're trusted with a high amount of money that you will be able to make all your payment on time. So that becomes very risky for lender. So you either get turned down altogether, or you might have an offer that might be lower than the amount you expect, or you might end up getting a high interest rate that you do not want to pay. And that could be very upsetting for most people, because that wasn't really what you expected, because you think my credit score is great. Yes, it is great, but it doesn't mean everything. So for those of you who are able to establish credit, make sure you have a diversified lending portal, in the sense that make sure you have some installment loan. You may have enough money to buy a car, but just get a loan out there where you can make monthly installment payments on that loan. Make sure it's paid on time. If you have a larger loans amount and a larger credit limit, and you're able to make your payments on time for like 3 or 5 or 6 years, that would look rather good. So do not just count on your credit score, because though the credit score play a huge deal in many things, making sure that you have enough payments set up through different lending portal is really important. So you have to make sure you get that. And for those of us who come from Africa, we work so hard. We barely have enough time to just work 12 hours a day, come home, take care of our family, for those of you who are married, just like myself, and able to just have enough information so we can share and have enough knowledge. So just make sure you educate yourself. You ask your advisor at the bank, ask enough questions, and understand exactly what you need to know and what you need to do in order to have a strong credit in spite of having a high score, so you can make sure that you get that loan that you need, so you can make sure you qualify for the best interest rate when you come in to purchase a vehicle, or you get the best interest rate when it's time for you to apply for a mortgage, because that's really important. And for a lot of people who may not know, having a best credit score may not necessarily mean that you get everything. And the number 3 thing that I'm going to discuss today is good credit. Good credit, like a 760 score, like I just said, or anything above 700 is great. And many of us will think that we need to get to the 800. 800 is the ultimate best. 800 means that we've really improved our score so much that there may not be enough room for improvement anymore. And a lot of people might just get stuck once they get to the 740, 750, 760. The honest truth is, don't really sweat it. Once your credit gets built up to a strong credit and you don't have enough payments to make you pay off all your balance on time, that's great. Few things that I can share with you: just make sure you keep making your payments, and definitely keep making sure you use your credit card. Using your credit card, especially if you have a card that offers you rewards, whether it's cash back or some points, use it constantly, and make sure you use your debit card to make payments. And definitely, if you have a financial institution you trust, that you love, where you bank every day, get their credit card. Because you think that, if you already have 2 or 3 credit card established with a different financial institution, it may not be important for you to get one from your financial institution. That may not necessarily be true, because when you have a credit history with your financial institution, besides them being able to look at your bank statement to get information if you need to apply for a specific loan, or if you need some type of product, whether you're a business owner, you want to expand your business and you need that loan, you need a 30 or 40,000 loan that you'd like to apply, the best thing would be to go through your financial institution. So if you already have a credit history established with them, and you have your bank statement, you have a good income in your account, chances are you're going to get approved for the loan. So if you have a good credit score, having to work with your financial institution is the best asset, for you. Just utilize it and make sure you take advantage of it. And once your credit score is pretty high and you can get a credit card, get it through your financial institution, and definitely get those that offer you some rewards, because you would definitely benefit from it. And that is what I wanted to share with you. And there is so much more as far as credit that I can tell you, but I cannot really say everything here. So that's why I'm telling you, like I said, make sure you contact us. Make sure you go get on our website, check to see what we have to offer. We have membership. We provide credit solution, and we help you not only setting some goals to make sure you can achieve your goals, but if you are an African immigrant here, you don't necessarily have all the time, you don't necessarily have all the right information for you to move forward. That's what we're here for. Jiggy means hope, and we're here to help you with that hope, to make sure everything that you hope to accomplish in your financial journey, we can help you make it happen. So please give us a call, come to us, visit us, check us out online, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We're here for you.